Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Breakfast Show. And as we come back to our health segment, now let's talk about parents out there who are constantly worrying about their children being sick. Now, we understand, yeah, now that you're a parent yourself, Aisha, when your baby gets sick, and everything, literally, your schedule goes out the window.
Yes, everything stops, right? You drop everything, right?
Everything, of course, for your baby's health. Now, a weak immune system can lead to infection and definitely affect the child's growth and development.
Exactly. You know, we always think that of outside, you know, factors that could have affected our child's health. You know, could it be the environment that they're playing in? Could it be the preschool that they're at? But sometimes we have to look within, actually, and see if your child has probably a poor immunity or poor immune system. And there are actually warning signs, hopefully, that a parent can look out for so that they can take maybe proactive steps and how to ensure or strengthen their immune system.
Well, as part of Immunity Week's How and Why series that we'll be having for the next 3 weeks right here on The Breakfast Show, we'd like to welcome Dr. Ami Hamzah Abdul Latif, consultant immunologist and allergist at Pantai Hospital, Kuala Lumpur, to talk to us a little bit about child immunity. Good morning. Welcome, doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's always
a pleasure. It's our pleasure. You know, a lot of things that Naz and I can learn and probably take a few notes.
Absolutely right.
Now, of course, as parents, or all parents would know that, you know, a child's immune system is extremely crucial to the child. You know, does it affect the child's development and growth? What's your opinion on that?
Definitely, it affects the child's development and growth because it's just like saying that if you have a good and a peaceful environment, then you can the child start developing. And developing, obviously, is a physical growth and also the mental and social development as well.
Social, indeed.
Yes, right. So, especially in the first 3 years of life, where the immune system is going to play a crucial part. Now, having said that, though, we have to remember that although the immune system is already there when the child is born, but it's still immature. So that in itself is also growing and developing. But certainly we need a good immune system for everything else to work nicely. So definitely we need a good immune system because the physical growth is going to happen about 4 times in the first 3 years. So that's why we always say the first 2 to 3 years is, you know, the most important aspect of a child's life. Yes.
But here's the thing, I've always thought that every child born has they start off on the same note, everyone has the same level of immune system, or is it different for every child?
There will be some variability because a lot of what we know about the immune system now is genetically linked. So there are a lot of genes that are going to produce a lot of proteins and hence the whole defense system itself. So, but it should be the same, and they all start developing the immune system way in the first trimester of pregnancy as well. Really. So from about 2 months into pregnancy, it's really starting, and it just goes on, and probably will reach full maturity really about the adult level, maybe around 2-3 years. So this is where it's a bit of a balance. So we know that the immune system has to be good to protect and defend from infections in the first 2-3 years, and yet at the same time they are also trying to learn and mount a good immune response to all those infections.
I see. Now, Doc, you mentioned just then that it's got a lot to do with the genes, and that, you know, every child will have probably different, you know,
variables.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, what could be the causes of this, you know, these differences in every child? Could it be, you know, hereditary? It's because the parents were allergic to a certain thing, or could it be, like you mentioned, you know, in vitro, the mother was probably exposed to a certain type of food which the kid didn't agree with? I mean, what could be the causes for this?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the immune per se, immune system, we usually look at it, it's a very complex system, by the way. And there are the organs, and which starts off in the bone marrow, and then the different cells, and all the chemical messengers that goes around called cytokines that then integrates and does the networking, the signal networking. So all that comes from the genes.
Oh, it sounds complicated.
Yes, so I'm going to try and, you know, be as simple as possible. But certainly, when we look at immune defect or immune deficiency, when there's a possible cause of the immune system being weak, we look at 2 aspects. One is what we call primary, and this is where the genes come in. So they make the parents probably have some genes are a bit defective already, and if both parents are carriers, so there's a good chance, 1 in 4 chance of the child having a disease.
The Mendel law.
The Mendelian inheritance. And then, of course, we have the secondary immunodeficiency. So their immune system is intact at most times, but because of other illnesses. Okay, I take a simple example. I mean, if a child is born premature, so his or she is not going to have a complete immune system just yet at that time. So they're going to be more at risk of having the infections. So these are secondary immunodeficiencies. So HIV infection, now that can cause secondary immunodeficiency. And so there are 2 big groups that I look at. So, and when I approach a child who potentially may have a weak immune system, so it has to be, are there any medical problems in the background, or has this potentially is a genetic problem?
I see. Now the thing is, for parents out there who look at their child, of course those who are fit and healthy, but there are also those who are listless and cranky. It could be personality, but could it be something more? How do you watch out for symptoms?
Yes.
Okay, symptoms of weakness of the immune system.
Yes.
Yep, and that is certainly the cardinal sign of infections, and this can be serious infections. Persistent infections that probably 2 months in a row, child's not getting well, needs antibiotics, more so admitted to the ward, and it requires injection antibiotics. And then, of course, we then go on to say that could there be a primary defect if there's a family history. So we start thinking of those scenarios. So the infections, number 1. Number 2 are what we call autoimmune.
Autoimmune.
Okay, autoimmune, so that's responsive to the immune system. Okay, so the immune system starts to attack one cell. So autoimmune disease can also be a presentation of a weak immune system.
I see.
And then, of course, there is this what we call the lymphoid cancer. That means the immune cells now becomes cancerous. Instead of helping, now they go on destroying cells.
Now, with all those symptoms, of course, listed down and things now parents know, maybe there are some things that they can look out for. What are the steps that they can take to actually, if they've discovered they've got a child with a weak immune system, or even, just generally protect their child, what are the steps that they can take to ensure that the child doesn't fall sick as often?
Yeah, you see, the immune system, as I was saying, is in maturing stage. So we have to look at the possibility that children will have certain numbers of infections
and sickness.
Initially. So, but they usually are going to be what we call self-limiting. So just the normal cough and cold, maybe a little bit of low-grade fever, and then they, they just go off by themselves.
Exactly.
You don't need antibiotics, and they're still jumping up around, climbing over your back and everything.
Exactly.
And you're not going to be too concerned there. And as they get older, you would think that infections should actually get less. So that's the first thing. So there is a balance. We need to strike out a balance to say, and what are the things that we need to look out for. Okay. So if it is a serious infection, then you got to be thinking whether there could be an immune defect. Right. Now, immune defect that are genetics. Now that's a tough area to approach because because they don't have the genes producing it. So it's all down to treatment whereby we give antibiotic prophylaxis, for example. That means we give prevention antibiotics, or in the more serious one we do bone marrow transplant or stem cell transplant. So it goes to that end as well.
That's extreme.
That's extreme end, really. And the other, when you talk about trying to prevent, or what they always ask me, so is there anything that can boost or
especially on a day-to-day basis.
Day-to-day basis. So I think it just comes down to the healthy lifestyle, and we start off with the good nutrition. Obviously. So I think that's where, because our gut is always continuously being exposed to that. So it has to be very, very strong in trying to defend all those things. So if you give good nutrition, it's balanced in everything, and people talk a lot about the micronutrients like the zinc, the selenium, magnesium, the trace elements, the vitamins. So those are the ones that it should be a nice, good, balanced diet, good nutrition. Now, whether you go down organic or not, that may be
that's
some
your choice,
debate. But certainly you want to cut down on the so-called junk food and all these preservatives and everything else.
Sodium
That's definitely
levels,
bad for the immune system.
That's definitely not good, because then they can cause all these problems like allergies, which is the other way around. Which is actually now the immune system also gone wrong, and maybe in a way it's weak because something is not controlling it. So they go into hyperdrive.
All right.
Yeah. So the immune system is not weak, so they can fight out the infection, but they go into this berserk mode, and even the harmless things, let's say cow's milk or egg white, and they go into problems.
I see. So here's a call to parents out there, especially to those who are looking at their kids and their kids have healthy appetites. You know, and then they feed all sorts of things. You really got to watch out for that, especially when it comes to junk food, because you are what you eat, after all. And picking up from what you eat, it all comes from the gut. So good immune system really does start from the tummy, yeah?
Exactly. You know what? Your child has such a small tummy. You want to make sure that you're feeding them with the good and the right stuff,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That bag of chips will fill your child up, but it won't give your child all the nutrients he needs to develop healthily.
Especially a healthy immune system.
Exactly.
Yeah? So, of course, the follow-up on that, especially if you want to learn a little bit more about child nutrition and also how to build up your child's immune system, NAN Grow 3 presently is bringing forth Immunity Week's How and Why series. Of course, that celebrates great tummies and great minds, and that's happening from the 29th July till 6th of August. And of course, you can garner more information on our screens at this point in time.
Exactly. Now, all you need to do is go to the website online. The first 10 people to register will actually get a free public. We'll actually get to attend free public forum. Anyway, the website that we're talking about right now is www.greattummy.com. There you go. The first 70 get a goodie bag.
Yes, there you go. So first 70. So be quick, be fast online. Log on to www.greattummy.com, and of course go for the Immunity Week's How and Why series starting 29th July. Once again, Doctor, thank you so much for coming down. Really appreciate it. Some good tips. No more junk food. To my wife who's watching, please keep away all those junk foods, keep away all those crisps. Nothing more for our child. Thank you very much.